This episode, Ancient Wisdom on Living Longer from the Axiom and Vessel series, is brought to you by Vizkard Studio.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're the show that really tries to get past the surface noise and dig into the sources you share with us for those, genuinely interesting insights.
Those surprising connections.
Exactly. And today, we're tackling a huge one. The quest for a longer life, a more vibrant life. It's something people have obsessed over for, forever.
It really is timeless.
So what can we actually pull from the past on this? Any maybe forgotten wisdom hidden in there?
Well, that's the mission today. We're diving into this fascinating old text, The Art of Prolonging Life. And it's more than just an old book. It's like a window into a totally different way of thinking about health and how long we stick around. You might find some perspectives you really didn't expect.
Yeah, and what struck me right away was who this book was for. The preface says it's for general readers and young doctors.
Right. That's quite ambitious.
It aims to give both groups these facts, illustrations, and reasoning of the most interesting and important nature. Basically, trying to equip everyone with the tools to preserve life itself. What does that ambition tell us?
I think it tells us a lot. It really sets up the book's core idea, which was pretty radical back then.
Which was?
That your physical health and your moral health are deeply connected, like body and soul, the text says. You can't really chase one without the other.
So it's not just about keeping the body going.
Not at all. It's about elevating human nature, making it ennobled and raised to perfection. That's the goal. So this deep dive should give you a shortcut to understanding these sometimes really surprising links, ideas that still kind of echo today.
Okay, that's a big idea. Let's unpack that historical quest then. It sounds like ancient views on prolonging life were all over the place.
Oh, completely. The book maps it out nicely.
Yeah.
You had like the stern theologian type.
The fatalist.
Sort of. Yep. Asking, who can add a minute to their existence? Basically saying it's out of your hands.
Right.
But then you had the very practical physician. Their advice was much more grounded. Take care of your health, guard against diseases, cure the ones that pop up. Just be sensible.
Okay, sensible and then the less sensible.
Well, you had the adept. The alchemist type? Maybe. Boldly claiming their vital elixir was the secret to a super long life.
The magic potion route?
Pretty much. And then the philosopher, offering a different spin. Learn to despise death and double life by enjoyment. Focus on quality, the richness of experience, not just ticking off more years.
Interesting. So a real spectrum of thought.
Definitely. And the ancients, Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, they all had their practices, but it wasn't universally praised. Plato, for instance, apparently reproached a doctor.
For what?
For using medicine to keep someone alive who wasn't really going to enjoy that extra time. Prolonging suffering, essentially.
A quality of life argument, even back then.
Yeah. But then you have someone like Plutarch, who supposedly lived the happiest old age, proving his own health advice worked. So, yeah, lots of disagreement.
Okay, so beyond the philosophies, the book gets into some, let's say, creative methods people tried, some real quackery, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Take Theophrastus Paracelsus. The book does not mince words, calls him an impudent quack and greatest poster.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Apparently traveled everywhere, claimed he could cure anything, make anyone live longer, even said, "Ye must give way to me, the monarchy is mine." Big talk.
So how did that work out for him? Did he have the secret?
Well, here's the thing. Despite bragging about having a stone of immortality, he died at 50.
Oh, right. That's awkward.
It's a pretty stark contrast between the hype and the reality, isn't it?
Definitely. Okay, so besides the big talkers, people also looked upwards to the stars.
Yeah, astrology was huge. The idea that stars governed your life, your fortune, your health.
So how did they use that for longevity?
They tried to counteract bad stars, unfavorable constellations, using specific foods, drinks, or even moving to a place supposedly under a friendly star.
Wow, and talismans too.
Yep, melting down metals, casting and stopping them under certain constellations, trying to capture that planet's good energy.
Fascinating. And then blood transfusions. This sounds grim.
It's pretty wild. The book contrasts the excessive bleeding practices of the Louis XIII of France. Bled 47 times in 10 months. 47 times. Good grief.
And hundreds of purgatives and enemas on top of that. Contrast that with attempts to invigorate people by putting animal blood into their veins.
The animal blood, literally.
Literally. Lamb's blood, calf's blood. There were doctors in Paris, Denis and Riva, who apparently cured a couple of people this way, someone with lethargy, a lunatic.
Did it work?
Well, The text mentions these successes, but then adds almost casually that some of them died during the operation.
Right. Minor detail.
But even with those fatalities, the author of our text suggests maybe the idea shouldn't be totally thrown out for some conditions. Shows how desperate the search was, you know?
Desperate is right. Thinking about Louis XIII again, that level of bleeding, it's just hard to fathom from here.
It shows a completely different understanding of the body. And you also had thinkers like Lord Bacon genuinely interested in longevity from an intellectual angle, and then figures like Mesmer claiming he had this personal magnetic virtue. Lots of different approaches being explored.
Okay, so after covering all these historical attempts, some bizarre, some philosophical, the book seems to pivot. It starts talking about something called the vital power.
Exactly. It moves from anecdotes to theory. This vital power is presented as this fundamental force, an incomprehensible power, the grand cause of all life.
So like life energy.
Essentially, yes.
Yeah.
Something that fills and gives motion to everything. It's described as incredibly subtle, more penetrating than light or electricity, the core animating principle.
And this vital power, it gives living things their special quality.
Right. It gives bodies their peculiar character, responsiveness, warmth, and it supposedly frees them from the normal laws of chemistry that affect dead matter. It's what stops us from just decomposing while we're alive and helps resist cold.
That's a really interesting way to frame it. Not just mechanics, but this underlying energy.
Exactly. And the book says light, heat, and oxygen are what nourish this power. There's proper nourishment.
And the enemies.
Cold, big electric shocks, lack of light, those things diminish it.
Okay, so if this vital power keeps us going, the book then talks about vital consumption. What's that about? Is it like using up the power?
That's precisely it. It's an inseparable consequence of vital operation.
Right.
Living itself uses up this vital power.
Ah, okay.
And here's the kicker. The faster the consumption, the shorter the life. It's like you have a finite budget of this vital energy.
Spend it fast, run out sooner.
You got it.
That really makes you pause, doesn't it? Especially with how we live today, always pushing for more intensity. This old book is almost saying, slow down.
It leads directly to that conclusion. The book asks, can we prolong life? And the answer is yes, but not with magic elixirs.
How then?
Through understanding this intensive versus extensive life concept.
Intensive versus extensive.
Yeah. The less intense a life is, the longer its duration, its extension.
Yeah.
The example given is a tree versus a horse. The tree's life is intensively weaker, less active, less energetic maybe.
Right, it just sort of is.
And it lives 100 times as long as the spirited horse. So the paradox is that things that weaken or slow down, that intense activity, might actually prolong life overall.
Wow. That's really counterintuitive to how we often think about a full life today. So the book then looks for examples in nature.
It does. It sees nature as holding the blueprint. With plants, the ones with a soft, watery constitution don't last long.
Makes sense.
But those with stronger organs and tougher juices, especially woody plants, they last much longer.
Okay.
And critically, slow growth and reproducing later in life are key. Why? Because the function of generation exhausts the vital power. It costs energy.
Energy conservation again. It keeps coming back to that.
Absolutely. And animals show even weirder stuff. Regeneration in things like worms or amphibians, they can regrow parts, even survive being cut up. That's presented as an amazing feat of vitality.
Right.
And metamorphosis in insects, the larva stage, the pupa stage, that's seen as a way to prolong life by basically pausing the clock, suspending that vital consumption for a while.
Hitting pause on the energy drain.
Exactly. And then there's just sheer toughness. Tortoises living for ages without a head, frogs hopping around with no heart.
Okay, that's just bizarre.
It is. And the toads found alive inside stones after years.
How did they explain that?
The idea was that external consumption was suspended. They were sealed off so the vital power wasn't being used up by interacting with the world.
Wow. Okay. And the long-lived animals? Tortoises, crocodiles, fish?
Yeah, the tortoise, slow, indolent, lives 100+ years. Crocodiles apparently growing as long as they live. And fish like pike and carp hitting 150 years.
And there was something about fish eating each other. A law of transition.
Yes. It's presented as nature's way of cleaning house in the water. One fish eats another, preventing widespread decay. It's an odd observation, but maybe it hints at a need for renewal or clearing out the old in any system, perhaps even our own bodies.
Interesting thought. So all these observations from nature, they're used to set up what's possible for humans, right?
Exactly. It builds the case for our own potential. First, It kind of debunks the super long biblical lifespans, like Methuselah living almost 1,000 years, by suggesting different ways of counting years back then. Modern rational investigation, the book says, brings those ages down to maybe around 200. Still impressive, but not mythical.
Okay, so 200 is the benchmark. What other evidence?
Well, historical figures. Abraham, 175. Moses, 120. Greek philosophers like Democritus hitting 109, others getting close to 100 or 120. These are presented as real examples of long human life.
But then there are these modern cases from the time the book was written that are even more startling.
Oh, yeah. Henry Jenkins, living to 169, still farming right near the end.
169, that's incredible.
And Thomas Parr, died at 152, got married at 120.
Married at 120.
And was apparently still threshing grain at 130. Can you imagine?
Threshing grain at 130. What did the book think allowed guys like Parr to live so long? Was it just luck?
Well, the really fascinating part about Parr is the autopsy. His organs were supposedly in the most perfect state.
So he didn't die of old age decay.
According to the book, no. He died of plethora, basically, overdoing it. Too much rich food and drink, likely when he was brought to the city and celebrated. Overload, not breakdown.
Wow.
And this leads the author to this really bold claim. Based on Parr, and this rule they observed in animals living about 8 times as long as it takes them to reach full growth.
Okay.
The claim is that human organization and vital power are capable of lasting 200 years.
200 years? That's quite a statement.
It really is.
So the huge question then is, if 200 is possible, why, as the book claims, do 9/10 of mankind die always prematurely? What goes wrong?
Right. This brings us to the practical advice. What shortens life?
Let's hear the shorteners.
Okay, first up, infancy. Delicate nursing, keeping babies too warm and coddled, is blamed for potentially having their innate vital capacity right from the start.
Interesting. What else?
Excess in amorous indulgence, sex, basically, called highly destructive. It supposedly wastes the most concentrated vital juices, weakens organs, hurts your mind.
Concentrated vital juices.
Okay.
And it even mentions moral onanism, which was their term for, like, excessive lustful thoughts or self-stimulation, saying even that could exhaust the mind. Shows how integrated they saw mind and body.
Definitely. What about mental effort?
Overstraining the mind is bad, too. Especially forcing kids too young, they say it's fatal before age 7. Or pushing yourself with artificial means, like wine or coffee, which exhaust doubly.
So stimulants are a no-go.
Seems like it. And they're just plain disease. The book states bluntly that most people die prematurely from disease. It even includes self-murder suicide as a kind of disease.
And bad medical care.
Oh, yeah. Injudicious treatment of things like fever, like piling on blankets, heating the room instead of cooling the patient. Basic mistakes that cost lives. It really feels like many of these shorteners are about imbalance, doesn't it? Too much of something, or the wrong kind of intervention.
It does. And some sound surprisingly modern, even with the old language. Like impure air. Huge issue for them. Big cities are called open sepulchers for mankind. Rebreathing stale air causes general secret poisoning. Think about smog and pollution today, it resonates.
Absolutely, food and drink.
Immoderation, especially too refined cookery, like really rich concentrated sauces or soups, consums. They thought it bypassed proper digestion, created irritants, and sped up that vital consumption.
Okay, so simple food is better. What about mental states?
Very important. Fear is a big one, especially fear of death itself. Constant worry actually weakens the body and mind, making you lose life in reality.
That makes sense. Anything else mentally?
Idleness, inactivity, just languishing, that's a state of danger, weakens everything, can even lead to suicidal thoughts. And an overstrained imagination, getting too carried away, might feel intense, but it increases consumption, makes you thin and prone to sudden breakdowns.
Wow. It's a very psychological approach, too.
Very. Then, straightforward poisons. Physical ones like arsenic, lead in paint or water pipes, mercury, copper. And infectious ones, venereal disease, smallpox, rabies, putrid fevers. They stress cleanliness and knowing how to avoid spreading them.
Seems like basic public health.
It is. And finally, premature old age. You can actually bring on old age early, they say, by deliberately weakening yourself or hardening your body's systems too soon. Grief or terror, they claim, could even turn hair white overnight.
That's a heavy list of don'ts. So let's flip it. What are the prolongers of life, according to this book? How do we aim for that 200?
Okay, the positive side starts with good physical descent, having healthy parents, especially a strong mother.
Nature and nurture right from the start.
Exactly, and prudent education for infants. Mother's milk, first year, no meat before teeth, washing daily with cold water, regular tepid baths, loose clothes, keeping them clean, not too hot.
Sounds pretty sensible. What about later?
An active and laborious youth. Hard work when you're young sets the foundation of a long and strong life. And for young people tempted by physical love, the advice is blunt. Fast and labor. Avoid rich foods, exercise hard until you're tired. That's the great talisman against those urges.
Fast and labor, got it. Marriage.
A happy married state is seen as essential. It regulates love, creates good citizens. It's part of man's destination.
Sleep.
Crucial. One of the wisest regulations of nature for slowing down that vital consumption. It's like a daily purification. They quote John Wesley, early to bed and early to rise.
Makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
A classic.
It is. Then bodily exercise, regular activity hardens you, makes you less sensitive to weather, and living in cooler places helps because heat speeds up vital consumption.
So move north.
Maybe. And definitely get out of the city. Rural and country life is praised as the real source of eternal youth, health, and felicity. Simplicity, peace, fresh air. The oldest people, the book claims, are always found in the countryside. Reinforces that less intensive idea again.
Makes sense. What about travel? Good for you. The motion, changing scenery, fresh air, lifts the spirits. Best way. On foot or horseback.
Okay. And cleanliness.
Vital. The skin is a key organ for purification. Daily cold water washing, changing clothes often, sea bathing, all recommended.
Food and drink again, but the positive side.
Moderation is king. Those men who lived sparingly attained to the greatest age. The advice is to lean towards vegetables.
Why vegetables?
They produce cool, mild blood and powerfully retard vital consumption. Examples are given someone living to 120 just on milk. Brahmins, John Wesley on veggies. Simple diets.
And water?
Drink plenty. Like a surgeon named Theodon, who apparently drank 7-8 quarts a day and lived long.
7 or 8 quarts, that's a lot of water.
It is. Then the mental side again. Cultivate trust and providence. Live for the day. Trust people. Hope in immortality is essential.
So a positive outlook?
Definitely. Joy is a greatest panacea, especially joy found in family and nature. And engaging the mind positively. Reading, studying, contemplating nature, discovering truth. These are seen as restorative.
Interesting. Anything else on the mind character front?
Yes, reality of character. Don't live under disguise. Being fake is stressful, unnatural. Sincerity and internal peace boost vital power. And music. It's a language of the soul, affecting our organs directly.
Music as medicine, I like that. What about actual medicine?
Use it judiciously. It helps by curing disease, which shortens life. But the book warns the use of medicine is therefore of itself prejudicial. It's only justified if it removes a worse condition.
So prevention is better than cure?
Absolutely. Harden the body, know your own weaknesses, and stick to one good doctor, not many.
And it even gave tips for emergencies.
Yeah, practical first aid for things like suffocation, freezing, poisoning, simple common sense stuff like warming someone up, using snow for frostbite, milk or oil for poisons. The key thing stressed is speed expeditiousness matters more than fancy equipment. Still true today.
So wrapping this all up, this deep dive into the art of prolonging life, it really paints this incredibly holistic picture, doesn't it?
It really does. It's not just diet or exercise in isolation. It's weaving together the physical, the mental, the moral, your environment, your habits, everything.
A whole life approach centuries before we started talking about wellness.
Exactly. And it's striking how many of the challenges, city living, stress, moderation, and the solutions, nature, calm, simple living, still feel relevant. Some of these ideas really do seem timeless, even if the explanations are different now.
It definitely leaves you thinking, and the book itself ends with this really provocative thought I wanted to share. Man, though organized for a reasonable being, is, however, at liberty to use his reason or not. Animals, instead of reason, have instinct. In this lies the principal cause why among men, who in every respect are best fitted for long life, mortality, however, is the greatest.
Wow. So we have the capacity for long life, more than animals perhaps, but we often fail to use our reason to achieve it. We let other things get in the way.
That seems to be the implication. It's a powerful question to leave you with. How much of our own longevity is actually down to the choices we make, guided by reason, versus just letting instinct or impulse run the show? Something to mull over.